forewarned, forearmed. Today's episode, I do have to welcome you all back because it's been a while since I've been on the channel. So to all those new out there, thank you for supporting the channel. Remember, if you like the channel and you want to share it with your friends and help make the channel grow, please like and subscribe. Remember, the channel is for you. So today's episode, we're going to talk about Canadian list building in tournaments. I think this becomes quite prevalent. So what I've done is I've chucked up a list of tournaments that are coming up. Now, even though I'm in Australia, I'm gearing this list as if I was going to go to LVO or Adepticon for America. So this will be a 95-point list. This list, I think, is going to be quite interesting. It does have quite a few units. I believe the unit count's about 15. And I do like them for one reason, because they're very versatile. They're great at what they do. They're probably one of the niche armies that you do see out there. Because I guess it comes down to your local meta, who does play this nation or who doesn't. And if you're wondering who I'm talking about, it's the Canadians. So Canadians got a big boost with the new NATO book. They got access to Eric's, they got access to TOE 2, they got access to Leopard 2, and they also got access to their Coyotes, Grizzlies, and Cougars. So, and then they also managed to get another 2 support Orbats from US and Brits as well. And they've still got their Germans. But even though the Brits is probably the newer one, the Germans and the US actually give them a little added bonuses, so you do get a couple of added things in there that help. Like I think you get the Amaro system for the Germans, which is quite nice, considering if you want to use that for artillery over the Lars. But I prefer the Lars. But that's my own personal choice. Anyway, so onto the list itself. It's 2 formations. I like using 2 formations in most of my lists. It just gives a lot more versatility, especially if you're worried about formation morale. At least that way, if one formation gets destroyed, you still got a second formation, so you're not actually going to lose outright that way. I do like this list because it is quite fun. I'll go through the list. So first off, for the first formation, I've chosen a M1313 mech company. So good old mech infantry. Nothing out of the ordinary. So from any other list I'd probably create. So you got your HQ, 2 platoons of infantry, both at full strength. I've then included the mortars. Never leave home without them. And then I've also got 2 units of TOE 2 for that lovely hammerhead ability, especially on them, especially considering the AT-23. And then I've got 3 Leopard 2s. The second formation is quite a few Coyotes. Judging by the count, there is close to 20. So, as you can imagine, that's 60, 88 shots pumping out per turn, as long as you can get them returning fire. But either way, that's a lot of 88 to pump out. So if you're versing something like a BTR Horn or a BP1 or 2 Horde, it's going to be like, ouch, and dealing with that. So, and it's also, don't forget, they also got anti-helo, so if you end up going against a lot of helicopters in your opponent's list, so especially those who love their French Gazelles, with both hot and 20 mils, it comes in handy against them, because it boosts your air defense. Because judging by this list, as you can see, there's only one air defense unit, and that is the ADATs. I think Canadians, you don't want to leave home without them. They're just so versatile. Yes, they are 10 points, but for the same points, you do get the ability to have both a air defense unit and an anti-tank unit. So, and that comes in handy. So, all up, you have 15 units in 2 formations throughout this list. So that's a lot to contend with. Just going through the list, it's like mech infantry, stock standard. I do love the Canadian infantry. They got some great stats. Think of them like Brits. The only difference is they're a little bit bigger than the Brit main platoons for their sizes. as like a 7, so you got an extra unit. So you do have that GMPG machine gun that's automatically included into them, where you actually have to pay for that to get like a similar feeling from the HQ to be placed into your platoons. I didn't decide to go with Eric's as an upgrade, as I feel like I want these guys to not only hold objectives, but I also want them to counter assault and be able to go out and not have to worry about either being pinned or being able to not being able to shoot AT weapons when moving. So I'd rather take the +1 penalty for slow moving than rather not have the ability to not shoot. So that's the reason why I've gone for the Charlie Gs and your 66s with these guys. Don't underestimate Charlie Gs and 66s, especially against very hordish style lists, especially like T62s and T55s. Hey, if they try to assault you, you're going against side armor of 8. These units are really good against that. So they do come in handy. You know, yes, you're going to be up close and personal, but at the same time, that's what the infantry's for. They're for digging in, holding ground, and keeping anything off the objective. Mortars, never leave home without them. They're just great little units. I think for what they do for 3 points is brilliant. They give you the ability to throw a smoke screen out there, but they also give you the ability to dig out infantry and pin infantry for assaults. Leopard 2s, while Leopard 2s and the Canadians don't necessarily have brutal, unlike the Leopard 1s, I think as a 1 point drop, like a 1 unit drop reserve, they come in handy. However, this is 95 points, so you still have to reserve another 6 points, I believe. So that would be a Coyote, Recce Patrol, and an Armoured Troop. So that gives you 3 units in reserve. And then, you know, that's not too bad. So you're still looking at 12 units on the board. So that's still a lot of units on the board, especially against someone who's playing like Marder 2s or even something else. So then you've got the TOW 2s or the TUAs, TOW Underarms. I've taken 2. You could probably, you know, if you wanted to, you could probably get rid of the OP and a Coyote Recce Patrol and a Armoured Troop, and then chuck in a 3rd one if you wanted to. But I think 2 do it nicely in this list, especially considering you don't really need too much over the top AT. Like, unless you literally know you are facing big tier tanks constantly, and that's the only thing that's going to be fielded against you, especially if they're actually in their own formation, like a T80 formation or Challenger formation or a Leopard 2A5 formation. It's like you're not going to have to worry about it. And I think that goes without saying, if you're facing Leopard 2A5s or Leclerc, I think you just need to worry about everything else. Because remember, that those tanks by themselves are quite expensive. At 95 points, they're going to be taking up half that. So if you worry about everything else and don't worry about them, try and mitigate shots against them, coming back to you, then that's job done. Because it's like, if you can't throw back, 50 points towards them, then they're a waste of points to your opponent, because you're not giving them the chance to make up those points by destroying your units. So that leads us into the second formation, which is a bucket ton of Coyotes, aka Lavs. Now, the Canadian Lavs will be better than the US Lavs, just for the pure fact that they do have that lovely 3+ skill. But when it comes to the Lavs, nothing beats the Aussie ones. And that's because it's like, the only way to get Spearhead is to take the 2 team units, which is the Coyote Recces. Whereas the Aussies, min is 3, you can get the 4 Spearheads. So I won't get into it as to who has the better Lav. We already know that Australia and Anzac has the better Lav in the NATO book. They also have probably the best formation for reconnaissance units across the NATO. Just for the pure fact of what you can get in that formation is great. So, and then that leads us back into the support unit, which is your ADATs and your OP. The OP is just so you can actually hone in and try to get a 2+ if they're out in the open, or 3+, but it allows you to always try to at least range in on a 3+ with your mortars, which is good. But it also means when you want that desperate smoke screen, you know you're going to get it on too. So that rounds out the list. I have put down below the link to the website if you want to see where the events are, if you are looking at going to some of these events. And I hope that you get some insight to how I go about my list creations. So this is like the 4th video I've done now on list creation. I think I'll keep going. If you want to see more, please comment if you want to see another nation. I think I've got Brits as a request, so I will try to figure out a Brit list. I did start doing them up as 100 points, but considering that the American points has been released and it's 95 points, it seems that a lot of people tend to drift towards what the Americans have for their meta in regards to tournaments. So we'll just keep working off 95 points. But if there's definitely a list out there you want me to see or have a look at, please let us know in the comment section. Once again, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to see different content or something else, a more analytical side of the house, please let me know as well. Anyway, good hunting, and I'll catch you next time.